Today on Cooking with Laurie, we are visiting the Lavender Bee Farm here in Petaluma, California. Stay tuned. Hi, it's Laurie Figone, Cookaholic, and today we are at the Lavender Bee Farm in Petaluma, California. We are going to learn how to extract some fabulous honey. Let's go. Hi, Rick.
Hi, Laurie. So glad that you came to the Lavender Bee Farm.
I am so thrilled to be here today.
It's going to be a lot of fun. You get to see where honey comes from.
Okay.
Are you ready to put on a bee suit?
I am. Let's go.
All right. Okay, Laurie, we're about to enter the world of the bees.
I'm nervous and excited at the same time.
Oh, it'll be just fine. Just stay by me and you'll be safe. This is my bee yard right here. Part of the 100 beehives that I have. This is part of them. These are all local bees, so they should be very nice to you since you're a local girl. Laurie, these are all local bees that I've captured, and they're very tame. They're very nice Sonoma County bees. I think they'll get along good with you. I'm so happy to hear that. Good. So now what do we have to put, like our headpieces? Yes. Now we're going to put our this is called a veil.
Okay.
We're going to put this over us. Let me help you a little bit. And then we're going to zip it.
Oh boy.
Nothing to be afraid of here.
I feel like I'm going to the moon or something.
It's kind of like that. Okay. All right, and then we're going to walk down here and go to the hives.
Okay, so just be quiet and don't be scared.
Right. One thing that's really important with bees is just to be very calm and confident. Bees can sense fear.
Okay.
So we want to try to just stay calm. I've done this enough times so that I'm not going to waste any emotion with them. We're going to go and we're going to open up a hive and take a look and see what the honeycomb looks like so we can take it into the barn and extract. Okay. This is a very active beehive, and just to give you a little bit of a breakdown of a beehive, usually the bottom part of the beehive, that bottom box is called a brood chamber, and that's where the queen is laying a lot of her eggs. Okay. And as I told you earlier, the queen lays the eggs. It takes 21 days for the bees to become mature to start working. Right. And so there's a constant rotation of bees inside here. And as a colony grows, I add additional boxes to allow the queen more room to lay eggs and for surplus honey. And that's what these boxes up on the top are. We call them supers, and for the extra honey to go into. And then this is a top cover to help to keep moisture out of a hive. Inside a hive, the bees like it at about 90 degrees all the time. Oh, wow. And they work in the dark, and each bee has their own job, whether it be as a forager or a guard bee or a nurse bee. They all have the specific jobs within the hive.
I have a question. What happens in the winter then? You say they like to be at 90 degrees. Do they do they hibernate? What do they do?
It's actually it's not a hibernation, but the bees will live longer in the winter time. They will live 12 to 14 weeks. Oh. And what they do is they cluster in one large cluster in the hive with the queen in the center of that cluster. And then they move throughout the hive to where the honey sources are, because the honey is their food.
Okay.
And then hopefully by February we start to get some blooms, some pollen, and then the bees start to go out and forage for that.
Okay, so during the winter months when nothing's blooming, they live on the honey that's left in the hive.
That's right. That's why I only take about 40% of the surplus honey that they produce, because my goal here is not just to get honey from a hive, but it's to create healthy colonies.
Okay.
Because bees are, just besides making honey, they're also very good for all of our gardens and for for all of our flowers.
Right. How many bees again did you say you have here?
Well, this hive here has somewhere between 50 and 80,000 bees
Oh
in it.
my!
It's quite full.
This is like overwhelming to be amongst so many bees.
And each bee colony is loyal to that queen. The queen has a pheromone that is her unique scent. And so the bees know where they're, when they leave, they know where they're coming back to. Now this is a smoker, and what I do is I put our dried lavender stems in the smokers.
Okay.
And which allows, when I smoke a hive, when I put smoke into a hive, what it does is it causes the bees to congregate inside and try to fan the smoke out. So it gives me a distraction so that I can go in and take out the honey out of the hive without them coming out and you know, trying to attack me. I mean, you still get, you know, a situation where bees will try to guard their hive, but the smoke is a great deterrent. And a lot of times I'll smoke my suit just to help keep the bees away.
Oh.
But you don't want to put the smoke in your face because you can't breathe. Just a little word of bee wisdom. So what I do is I put a little bit of smoke to the hive entrance. That's what this is right here, where the bees come in and out. Put a little bit of smoke in there. This is called an inner cover, and I put a little bit of smoke in there. Again, it helps to drive the bees down inside the hive. Then this is called a pry tool that I use because bees produce a product called propolis to help everything inside the hive stick together and hold together, Laurie. So I'm going to pry the top off with this. So this is what the inside of a healthy hive looks like.
Oh my gosh, can you hear all that buzzing in there?
A buzzing bee is a happy bee.
Okay.
So I'll put some smoke in here. This is a very enjoyable thing for me to do.
Well, because you know in the end result you're going to be getting that delicious honey. I can see why.
Then what you do is you use the pry tool to separate these wooden frames. Sometimes they're really stuck in here, but you just have to be patient and work with it. Now this hive, you can see the glistening honey.
Yes.
These bees are in the process of filling it.
Okay.
Once these caps are all filled, then they'll create a little wax coating off the top.
Like, are these
right.
filled?
Just partially right there. You can see where there's some wax cappings right there.
I'll be darned.
So what I'll do is I'm going to set that frame off to the side, and then I search through the hive looking for capped honey.
Okay.
So
wow.
Just a slight tap on the side of the hive, and then you'll see the capped honey.
Okay.
This is called brood, and the queen, generally a queen will make almost a crescent shape on a frame laying her brood. But because there's such a small amount of brood here, I would take this frame and extract this honey. If it had a lot more brood, then I would probably just leave it.
Okay.
I'll set this one aside and we'll take another look. You can see that the bees are fairly calm. They're not really getting in our face or trying to be aggressive. It's because of the smoke. One thing you never want to run out of is smoke.
I'll remember that.
Smoke is your friend. Again, this has a lot of capped honey on it. The dark wax is because this signifies that this has been used many times for egg laying.
Okay.
Lighter honey, lighter wax, such as this, signifies that it's fresher.
Okay.
Each box holds 10 frames.
Wow.
So you can see the bees all at work here.
That is just incredible.
They're working with the honey. They're depositing honey and nectar in there.
Yeah, look at those
And they work,
guys.
and there's 2 sides to the frames.
That is so cool.
Have you ever done this before?
Heck no.
See if we can find.
I have a question. When you put these frames, when you begin with this wooden frame, it's just a wooden frame with nothing in the middle, right? The bees have built all of this?
Well, each of these frames, I use a plastic foundation.
Oh, okay.
And I put that inside there, and I brush some extra melted beeswax on it,
okay.
so that the bees will build.
So it has
on
that
top
formation of the
Right.
honeycomb.
But you don't have to use plastic foundation. You can use sheets of natural beeswax.
Okay.
But the problem is that I found is that the frames get to be so heavy, and when I've used just natural beeswax, they tend to fall apart. And when I'm trying to do a lot of extraction, I end up losing more of this precious honey. And so I use the plastic foundation.
Okay. So what is this up here? What is this called?
This is called burr comb. And this is just extra comb that the bees have made. And I'll use the hive tool to scrape that off and keep the frames clean.
Oh, okay.
In the wintertime, when some of the frames are empty, I'll come through the hives because the size of a hive is going to be reduced. So I will take off the excess boxes, and I'll take the frames out, and I'll add new frames, new foundation. I'll use a torch and scorch the inside of the hives. That might kill any parasites that there are. Bees have a few natural enemies. What I'm doing now is putting this hive back together, but bees have some enemies, such as, well, yellow jackets are terrible for bees. They like to rob the bees and kill the queen. When I have a lot of yellow jacket infestation, I will reduce the entrance to a hive so that the bees can defend it. Also, bees, there's something called varroa mites, which attack the bees and can kill them. They kill the larvae.
Wow.
And also, well, that's about the main thing. If you keep the bees clean, healthy, they like to have plenty of water sources to go to. Bees can use up to 1 gallon of water a day.
Oh.
And they need to be hydrated. Now, this is the top cover to the hive. Again, this just keeps the inclement weather out. The bees, again, like to have it fairly warm inside. So we're going to leave these bees to rest and produce more honey.
Okay. Now we'll go find out how to get the honey out of the combs.
All right. That's the next best part.
Yes.
So what did you think about your experience with the bees?
Well, I was very calm until the end. They started buzzing around a little more. I got a little bit nervous, but oh my God, that was an experience of a lifetime.
It's something that you'll be able to tell people that you've accomplished.
I know. So thank you for that part of the adventure.
Laurie, this is our bee barn.
Oh, cool.
So you'll be able to see how we process our honey. We can see we have the dried lavender hanging. It's ready for processing.
It smells incredible in here.
Thank you. This is the area where we do the extraction
Okay.
and where we bottle our honey. This is a extractor, which is like a giant centrifuge, and it holds up to 20 frames of honey.
Wow.
The honey is uncapped and then put in here, and this spins around. I can just show you real quickly. You start it off kind of slow so that the frames balance themselves out. And as the honey is thrown out, we can increase the speed. It usually goes up to about 60 revolutions per minute. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour for all the honey to be thrown out of the frames. And then
smell it.
Isn't that a wonderful, intoxicating smell?
Yes.
And it's always fun, you know, once you do that, to kind of taste the honey with your fingertip. It's fun. You can taste the type of blossoms that the bees have gone to, whether it's lavender or wildflower, wild mustard, even ragweed and thistle, star thistle. They all have different degrees of taste. And as long as the honey isn't heated and you don't destroy the natural enzymes that are in the honey, you can always identify that flavor. And the darker the honey, the stronger the flavor. Whereas a lavender honey would be much lighter tasting. That would go good with cheese or you know, on toast or things like that, muffins. Where blackberry honey might be better in teas or to maybe even use in cooking. They're all very subtle in their taste flavors, and that's what makes the natural raw honey so unique. Oh, Laurie, once all the honey has been filtered through these stainless steel screens, and we take the pure honey that's in here, we're going to fill it. This is our Honey Bear glass jar.
Which is so cute. I just love that.
This holds 9 ounces of honey and weighs 1 pound.
Oh.
Anyway, we open up the valve and let the honey fill through here. Fill it up. And we get it right up to the top. Close it off, get the last few precious drops. You know, a bee in its lifetime only makes 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey.
You're kidding me.
No.
How long is a bee's life? How long do they live for?
A bee only lives for 28 days this time of the year. And from the time that a queen lays an egg until a worker bee is actually grown, comes out of the cell, it's 21 days. So each drop of honey is very precious, and I'm very careful with it.
Very precious.
We take it out of there, we put the cap on it, and we have this wonderful golden light lavender blossom honey. It's pretty impressive.
Very impressive, not just pretty impressive.
I'd like to present you with this fresh jar of honey.
Thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure that that's going to be delicious in your cooking recipe.
I had so much fun today here in Petaluma at the Lavender Bee Farm, meeting Rick, learning how his honey is made, and now I can't wait to get back to my kitchen and dip my finger in this jar of honey and start baking. The Lavender Bee Farm was amazing, and what I have created for you today is going to be called Laurie's Honey Corn Gluten-Free Muffins, and this is how you make them. I have 1 1/4 cups of polenta. I have 1 cup of brown rice flour. I have 3 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder. Now, you can up the heat a little bit. 1/2 teaspoon would be fine also. This is just going to give a nice hint of smoky chipotle flavor by using 1/4 of a teaspoon. We are going to whisk that together. And I can smell that chipotle smoky flavor coming out right now. What goes in there next is 1 egg. 1 2/3 cup of creamed corn. And 1/4 cup of melted butter. And the star of the show today, we need 1/4 a cup of lavender bee honey. Oh, I can smell the honey already. It just smells fabulous. Oh, it's the best tasting honey around. We're gonna whisk this together until that egg gets beaten and everything is just combined in here. And that is all the mixing you need to do. My oven is preheated to 400 degrees. We are now going to fill 12 muffin cups with this mixture. Okay, and what I have here is I think it's about a 2-inch scooper. It's a perfect size for making these muffins. You can measure so that they all come out evenly. And you will notice from the baking powder that we have used, the batter is nice and fluffy. These are going to make an incredibly moist muffin. And we're going to scrape that last little bit to fill one last muffin. It's good right to the bottom. I'm going to use my spatula to get all of this out of here. Okay, into the oven for 20 minutes they go. While my muffins are baking in the oven, what we are going to do is take 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of this fabulous honey. And that is going to go in the microwave just until the butter melts. And when the muffins come out of the oven, we are just going to brush it all over the top. My muffins are ready to come out of the oven. And they smell so delicious. We're going to bring them right over here and brush on this incredible smelling mixture of melted honey and butter right onto the top of these muffins, and it's going to make a beautiful glaze, and the flavor is going to melt right in there. Look at how that just seeps right into that hot muffin. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to try one. I'm gonna put a little more, use it all up because that honey smells so wonderful. Okay, I'll put one in my plate. I should really let them cool for about 10 minutes, but what the heck. They are hot. I'm going to cut it in half because I think it's going to be too hot to just pick it up and bite into it because, oh my God, but I want you to see how moist they are. Look at that. I am going to let it cool for just 1 minute before I take a bite. The muffin is cool enough to eat, and I cannot wait to bite into it. that sweetness from the honey, the butter, the texture from the corn, and that little hint of chipotle in there is just knocked it out of the park. I hope you try my recipe. You're gonna love it. You can find this recipe at www.cookingwithloriefigone.com. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time on our next cooking adventure.